One of the things I don't like about Gunsmith in Call of Duty since its inception is that it feels like Treyarch, Infinity Ward, whoever, breaks our firearms on purpose and then gives us attachments to solve the issues that they have. And I've had this problem for a while, and while I think some games over the last 6 years have handled this better than others, it's still a problem. Where we have guns that have stats or characteristics that don't make any sense, but luckily, thank goodness, the Gunsmith is there to solve the problem and save the day, right? So in this video, I'm going to be talking about how this, I think, should be changed and how Gunsmith should be pushed past just being a band-aid fix for bad weapons. But first, I want to teach you how to band-aid fix one of this game's most annoying mechanics. So we've talked a lot about meta attachments and the muzzle brake, and how the muzzle brake removes random recoil, and those videos will be linked at the end of this one. Please go give them a click, go give them a watch, it would mean the world to me. If you want to learn about attachments that are just universally helpful or that are band-aiding unnecessary problems in the game's weapon design, yeah, just watch those videos at the end, but also this video, because we're talking about transitional accuracy, which is the accuracy when you start aiming down sight, but not quite are all the way aimed down sight. I'm going to pop into the firing range here with Live Boom, the live version of me, that's a live recording gameplay. We're going to talk to him in the firing range here, and we're going to see exactly, well, what's going on. So let's illustrate this for you guys. Alright, to illustrate my point here, I put on as many attachments as I could that will hurt the aim down sight speed of an M15. And it gets pretty bad. It's around 400 milliseconds. This is closer to like an LMG. This is a very slow ADS time. And now, this is just to illustrate my point, because I want it to burn into your mind. So, while looking over at this wall here, what do you notice that happens to my screen as we aim down sight? As I aim down sight, you can see that there is a period where the gun shakes. See that little snap after the aim down sight animation, where the gun kind of vibrates in my character's hands? That's to indicate that we are full in aim down sight. We are after zoom. In case that sounds familiar, in aiming sensitivity transition timing, I guess is the setting name. I forgot that. There's a setting that says after zoom, where your sensitivity for aim down sight will apply after the gun is fully zoomed. There's gradual and instant. Instant is right when you hit your left trigger or your mouse button to aim down sight. Gradual is as you're aiming down sight, the sensitivity slowly slows down. After zoom is after the zoom. So this game has something called after zoom. And after zoom is one of the things that I think is ruining a lot of gunfights for people. Okay, there we go. The firing range is really bugged out right now. Anyway, so we are going to aim at the center and we're just going to ADS. And now you can see it. Now, when that gun does the little shake in my character's hands, that little vibration, that's the full zoom. My screen is fully zoomed in. We're after zoom here. This is after zoom. Every moment before you are after zoom, there is a potential for transitional accuracy issues. That's why I'm using a long ADS, horrible, bad, slow ADS build to illustrate this. Because as I'm aiming down sight, I'm hitting both triggers at the same time each time, by the way. And we have these random little variants. And I'm not really moving my right stick at all. I'm just left and right trigger, left and right trigger, left and right trigger. Because in hectic gunfights, when somebody's pushing you, let's just say from right here, right? So a little bit less than 10 meters. And you just want to start getting bullets on them. The last thing you'd want is that outlier. The last thing you want is that outlier. Let's pull out the recoil wall here to illustrate this a couple more times, just so I can explain what's going on. So, left and right, left and right, left and right, left and right. This is happening at the same time, no matter what. Left, right, left, right, left, right. That almost looks like a hip fire spread. Now, of course, I'm exaggerating this with attachments to illustrate the point. I'm not trying to make my point around this build. My point is that this issue persists regardless of the build you have. See? Exaggerating it to make the point, might seem like a dumb idea. But there are a lot of times that in hectic gunfights, we go to aim down sight and shoot at somebody, and we're dealing with these random deviations that are losing us gunfights. Missing 1 bullet out of a volley of 5 required bullets is gonna lose you a gunfight, so let's fix that. So just like in Black Ops 6, we have a fun little attachment here called the Strelic laser, or in this gun's particular case, the 5 milliwatt lockstep laser, but it's just the Strelic laser. And we have the 60 round mag, we put on the monolithic, and we put on the recoil control stock. And we're gonna run this test again. And this time, same thing. Left and right, 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 left and right. And with a slow ADS time build that just tanks our aim down sight into like an LMG's aim down sight, there is still less variance than there was before. So let's do like a 45 round mag, let's do a aim walking movement speed stock, and let's do the hex cut grip to help with our aim down sight speed a little bit. You have that second recoil pattern coming in there. I talked about that in a video. There's an attachment that fixes that second recoil pattern, so all of your recoil is consistent. That video will be linked at the end here. I'm trying to pass the word around about that attachment a lot because I think a lot of people are losing gunfights because they don't have that attachment, and I want people to not lose gunfights because of that, because that sucks. So at the end of the video, please click the link on the screen that's going to pop up, because that will tell you how to fix all of your weapons, and why would you want to miss that? So right here, as you can see, left, right at the same time. And while we still have a little bit of variance, I'm not perfect, I'm not a machine. I'm hitting right and left at the same time as best as I can. And there you have it. So yeah, basically you have transitional accuracy as a stat that you need to be considering. And without a quick ADS attachment in the Strelic laser, you are leaving yourself open for a lot of inconsistencies. So either make sure you have the Strelic laser, an ADS speed increasing attachment, or just be aware that you might be missing some bullets on those slower ADS builds, because what you want is consistency in Call of Duty, and the Strelic laser brings that out. So, cutting back to not live boom. Wow, live boom's a drag. Either way, hopefully you guys see what I'm talking about. Transitional accuracy might not ever really lose you an important gunfight, but it's definitely not helping them at all. Because in hectic, panicked gunfights in Call of Duty, where an enemy's coming at you, you try to kill them, and you die, and you don't really know what happened. You feel like you fired enough bullets, you feel like you got enough shots on, but there's ghost bullets. Bullets just flew right through somebody, right? Well, maybe not. Maybe bullets flew to the left or right of them while you were in the middle of ADSing, or moving, or sliding around, and you didn't really notice. So this laser, the Strelic laser, is going to do a lot to improve the consistency of your gunfight, so you have a lot less of the where the hell did my bullets go moments. And I feel like Call of Duty players have done this for a while. I think back in Black Ops 2, people were combining quick draw with laser sight, so they had better hip fire and faster ADS, so they could hip fire you into aim down sight and not have to worry about having like terrible inaccuracy somewhere in between. So the Strelic laser was sort of something that people were crafting out of other attachments in previous COD games, and I think it's kind of clever that it's here. We don't equip laser sights and steady aim to just run around and hip fire everybody all the time. Sometimes you equip, you know, steady aim or laser sight or whatever the equivalent is in the COD game to make your gunfights transition more consistent. Now, between the random recoil of the muzzle brake fixes, or idle sway, or bullet velocity, I start to wonder, is the point of Gunsmith just to fix shitty guns? Like, I've heard this criticism thrown around for a while, and I think that it's always true to some degree, right? Our weapons should be something that we can upgrade and make up for the downsides of, and it's fun to get like a high recoil gun and make it low recoil, or take a really slow clunky gun and make it faster, or take a really fast gun and make it long range, you know? I think that's fun. I think Gunsmith allows us to tailor guns against their downsides, against the cons. We can put more pros than cons on a gun that has a lot of cons in a certain area, and I think that is, of course, fun. It adds replayability. It's a good time. What I think Treyarch's done in this game and in Black Ops 6 before is, and I think Infinity Ward did it in MW2 as well, was add a lot of unnecessary traits to weapons that these attachments fix. Like, essentially, the gun would have been fine, and you wouldn't have needed to worry about Strelick Laser or Muzzle Brake had they just made the gun work. But there's no downside to these attachments. I mean, once you have the gun leveled up, you can just put stuff on that helps with any sort of random inconsistency. So yeah, you level up the gun, then you put on an idle sway attachment, a transitional accuracy attachment, you put on a good optic to maybe counteract bad iron sights. Like, you can just sort of band-aid the gun into being better. But I think if Call of Duty is going to be the smooth, fast Twitch shooter, it needs to embrace more of those mechanics. I should not be worrying in this game, the wall-jumping, futuristic, colorful Twitch shooter. I don't think I should be worrying about idle sway, random recoil patterns that don't reset when I'm done firing, or in this video's case, specific to this topic, transitional accuracy. I think if I am choosing to aim down sight, my bullets should start landing in the center of my screen the moment my gun starts moving. I don't have the benefit of the iron sight yet. That's the downside, because the iron sight or the red dot sight or whatever is what you need to know exactly where to point the center of your screen. But why do you think right now the meta in this game is aim walking movement speed and just sort of pre-aiming and pre-gaming doorways and hallways and stuff? Like, why do you think people have been doing that for a lot in the last 6 years, for a while in all of Call of Duty? But, you know, in this game in particular, let's just focus on this game. Why are people doing that? Well, because getting into a close range encounter where you need to ADS and start hitting somebody feels kind of fucking jank. Getting into mixer battles where you need to take out 3 different people, but your recoil becomes random after the 3rd volley of shots because you weren't controlling it. You thought it was resetting when you were done firing in between those 3 volleys, but it's not. You know, it's not fun. Now, I as a YouTuber kind of like this, right? Because I can just tell you, hey, use the Strelick Laser, use the Muzzle Brake, use these certain attachments to help with aim walking movement speed, don't forget to left stick aim, and I can tell you how to improve and I can tell you how to make it better. But a lot of people are left out in the rain not knowing this stuff. A lot of people are going to be turned away from the gunplay, or worse, think that the gunplay is perfect regardless of what their setup is, but missed shots or weird recoil is a product of the game being broken or not functioning properly. Because the game is so smooth and intuitive, if my bullets are whizzing through people, well, that's just bullshit, right? No, I don't think so. These are mechanics built into the game that the developers intended you to counter. It's just a lot of people aren't going to think to counter them. There are no video tutorials that play when you load up Call of Duty telling you exactly the best things to do to stay alive, win the objective, or customize your weapon, or choose the right perks. So a lot of people are in the wind. And that's kind of cool. It creates sort of a skill gap based on knowledge. And a knowledge gap, I think, is kind of important for a game as simple as COD. And it's always existed since the beginning. There are people who know and people who don't, and that's fine. I know you might be thinking, okay, Boom, what's the point of this? You just keep saying everything's fine, so if everything's fine, why do you care? I guess I just want them to be more creative with Gunsmith. I want my gun to feel intuitive and to just make sense in the way it handles without any attachments, and then I want to be able to tailor it to different play styles versus I have to pile attachments on to make it function the way I already thought it was going to function. So those kick reset speeds, make them faster. Slide to fire, dive to fire, I don't know, aim walking steadiness or idle sway. Fix those things. So then I don't have to build a gun around the weaknesses of the core gun mechanics of the game. I can build a weapon based around my playstyle and how I intend to play. I don't know, that just seems like a better idea to me. But I am interested to hear what you guys think about this. Let me know down in the comment section below if you like this style, if you like guns having inherent like inconsistencies or downsides that we have to make up for with attachments. Does that make it more technical and cool to you, or do you wish the devs explained things better? Or what? Like, I'd love to hear it. I'd love to hear your guys' opinions. Because honestly, this is kind of conflicting for me, because it's not hurting my ability to enjoy the game. I just kind of don't understand it. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching this. I will see you when I see you. Goodbye.